Well, it looks like, all the teams, the most exciting teams, honestly, the only real race, the relegation race, all the teams involved in that seem to be, just pulling out the fire as best as they can. Leicester lost 5-3, should have been 5-4, But like in the past, that's a 2-1, 3-1.
Yeah.
They're like, listen, they made it all lose by 5 goals, so let's, concede 5 goals, but maybe we score 5 or we score 6, which is pure like, lads, you can't defend. Okay,
let's forget about it. Look, we were wrong the first half of the season to be trying that.
Let's just do what we do best. Barnes, Vardy, Madison, let's just try and score goals.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know where Drewsbury Hall has been for the last few months, but I mean, they haven't been feeding them,
Yeah.
By the way, do you know who their manager is?
Ooh, Leicester's manager. It's tough to keep track of them all. I have no idea.
I only saw this last week and I was like, fuck, when was he appointed? There's no way I didn't hear about this. But no, he was appointed there, I think a month ago. Dean Smith.
Of Norwich fame.
Of Norwich and Aston Villa fame.
What's going on at Norwich?
He's obviously left Norwich, I don't know when, but maybe did he leave last year when they were relegated?
I don't remember.
But he's been manager for a month at Leicester.
No idea.
No one's mentioned him. He's obviously said, lads, we can't defend, so let me try. Last few games, let's just try and score as many goals as possible. Which, look, at least it's you got, like when Leeds sacked all their managers, you have to try something. You can't just leave it the same and hope it works out. You have to be proactive. Who else do you have then? Everton. I mean, fair play to Frank Lampard. I mean, I didn't think he could turn around at Everton, but I mean, that's just like attacking football. Really kind of. Good stuff to watch. Get the fans on side. I mean, fair play to Frank.
Well, he's gone. He's long gone.
Mm-hmm.
You've mixed up.
Frank's gone where?
He's gone to Chelsea.
No. I saw it last year. Everton stood up and Frank was on the up there with cheering the fans. And no, Frank's still there, isn't he? Frank wouldn't have.
No. He's gone. He's gone back to Chelsea. They signed him.
Well, who? Okay, so you're telling me a different manager had a team in the Premier League and they scored 5 goals. Who is this? Go on. Tony Pulis, is this? Or maybe he's...
Sean Dyche.
Oh, and I guess Dwight McNeil got 2 goals and 2 assists, one of them which was a screamer.
Yeah, I think the other one, he was celebrating during.
Yeah, I can't believe he did the Barkley in a relegation scrap.
It said 2 hands in the air.
I mean, the Barkley one I think was like peak Everton. It was like, this is the next evolution of David Moyes Everton. This is attacking football, but the solid defense. You still got likes of Colwell and Baines, but you got young attacking talents. That was like where they peaked, and it was kind of all downhill from there. But like Dwight McNeil to, I think, get his entire goal tally in one game and go, I'm going to celebrate this.
Well, it's fair enough because it wasn't like a relegation 6-pointer. It was against Brighton, one of the league's best teams this season. Fresh off a win against Man United.
The team up until this game, it's mathematically could get Champions League. That's gone now. Forget about that. That's
why couldn't Man United beat them? What's going on?
And of course, the one team that's been destined all year, Southampton, has made a great effort of it, a great fist of it, and they've scored a goal of their own. Will,
hey, very good.
They've also conceded 3.
That's not good.
Forest, so it's
Nottingham
really,
Forest too. 6-pointer.
Yeah, a real 6-pointer.
Yeah,
looks like they're going to get 0 points that game. But
tough to lose a 6-pointer. You are down 6 points. Then it feels like.
We talked a lot this year about my predictions, but you did call Southampton from the get-go that this is the year.
I've been calling that for years.
I mean, a bro clock, I guess, but I think it's exclusive on the Nonsense Pod. Southampton have been relegated from the 2022-2023 season.
I think I called that pre-season beginning because I hadn't heard anything about them in a long time.
That's usually more than enough. Yeah. Look at Dean Smith, for God's sake.
Honestly, that is nonsense. Nonsense. All nonsense.
They say many garbage things.
You don't know what you're going to get.
Melodrama upon melodrama. This is a utter shameful, disgraceful piece of nonsense.
Because he was miles off it yesterday. You'll learn a lot more if you
Go
listen
ahead,
rather than
go
talk
ahead.
all
Plenty of
the
air
time.
time, no problem.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to a No Nonsense podcast with Cathal and Will. The run-in, the home stretch,
Yep.
the season is pretty much over and done with, I would say, for most of it.
It was looking wrapped up a few weeks ago. Everything was
Yeah.
sorted, except maybe the top. But now
Yeah.
it's all to play for everywhere.
It was maybe the top, and then that was done. Definitely, this team is cooked. Top four. Yeah. What? Am I not going to lose every game from this season? Don't think so.
Yeah. Oh, Liverpool are good again. Okay. It's the same players. How could it change?
You're telling me they're just gonna? I'm doing that incredulous guy voice a lot this episode so far.
It's a good bit. It's a good go-to.
Yeah. It's all kind of opened up again. I mean, I will say that I am, wearing the Arsenal jersey for this podcast because if you haven't heard, Will, Arsenal are back in the race somehow.
We're back, baby.
I think it's because the overwhelming feeling was they're going to get destroyed by Newcastle because not only are Newcastle good, but they're like a really tough side to play against.
Yeah.
And if you're a mentally weak team, which Arsenal have proven to us all they are, fragile little babies who can't play football anymore, they're going to get beaten. But I think they did the Newcastle on Newcastle.
Yeah.
If you remember the reverse fixture this year, I think the ball wasn't played for like 12 minutes or something.
yeah. There was 2 goal kicks and that was about it.
Something outrageous. And then that led to like a string of games where teams said, hey, what if we just like don't kick the ball out? And then the goals kept getting booked against Arsenal.
Because, it works.
And then it culminated in Aston Villa, Martinez getting booked, and then Jorginho got that last minute winner, and people said, oh, well, that's a pretty embarrassing way to lose, actually. I think I'd rather just lose 3-0 at the start and get it over with. That went into that. But yeah, maybe Arsenal were thinking, hey, you know what? Let's play fire with fire here, and we'll be the shithousery. We'll employ the dark arts.
It is something all of the very top teams are very good at, and something that Arsenal have always been pretty weak at. They're usually the ones getting pinched and bullied and tripped and stuff. So it's nice to see them turn it back around.
It is nice, but in a way, I'd kind of rather that they'd been found out. That like everything previous in the season was a fallacy and that they weren't actually that good. And then you see them go to Newcastle and like be better than them in terms of football. Like, they survived and they were like under massive pressure, but they still had the composure to come back. And then they can also, slow the game down and don't put the ball in fast. Like, so they have everything you need to win the league. They have it all. They have it all. It was just that 3-game stretch there where they lost to 6 points in 3 games. That's all it was. It's
something we mentioned a lot in the pod of. We're like, it's when all the eyes are on Arsenal, that's when it falls apart. And that was the peak of the season. Where, like I said, when they were playing Southampton, everyone in the pub I was in was watching. Football fan or no, because they were like, hey, this is really important, isn't it? It's like, and they're fucking it up. But now the eyes are back away and they're back again.
But that's it, because everyone thought like, this team isn't that good. That's why they played that badly. It's not that they collapsed that much. There's no way that someone could do that. And because even before that, when they dropped the points, people look at the run-in. Yeah. Like that guy in the pub who said they would shit the brick or whatever the fuck. And like the guy beside him said, they have a very tough run. And this was one of the games I looked at. They had this game and also Brighton, which we just saw.
Absolutely pummeled 5-1.
So, this is why I thought this is going to be a tough run-in. But it's inescapable, the feeling that like if they had played this Newcastle side when they played Liverpool, would it be 2-2?
Yeah.
And would they have beaten Liverpool 2-2 or 2-0 now this week? Because like, it wasn't the pressure. It's kind of hard to escape that it was the pressure.
Yeah,
that they did kind of.
I mean, Southampton was one of the teams that gave them such trouble. Like,
yeah, Southampton is obviously just that's the one that proves it. Newcastle and Liverpool are good sides, but I definitely think if they play Southampton this week, they will beat them.
Yeah, I think so. Like comfortably. It's interesting though to see it all open back up, and it's something we mentioned before as well of like. People were calling like, as soon as Arsenal lose, that's it, because Man City can never lose a game ever again. It's like, well, they can. They can. They easily can. Things can go wrong easily.
Like Big Sam comes back in. Oh, God, it's Big Sam's music. Yeah. And then Big Sam runs the ring and he can't get in. That's kind of, I mean, how they lost 2-1 It's just that maybe that's the Big Sam effect.
Yeah. It wasn't 6.
Like they really parked the bus,
Yeah.
big time
Which
against City.
I really don't think that works anymore against teams like City. There's the system they play through that easily. That's what they train all day, every day.
If you're going to park the bus, you have to press really aggressively from a certain point.
Yeah.
You can't just say, well, the scoring zone's here, so if we stand in the scoring zone, you won't score. Because they are so good at dragging you out of position. That's what their whole thing is. So that was a dream for Pep City to play against a team that was like, we're going to stand here. And then they just like rattle keys and bring them over and back. And like, oh. And then, like Haaland had like 6 shots or something like that. You want to go.
And then like if you're so parked back there, like De Bruyne can score from anywhere on the pitch. So
yeah.
It just doesn't work.
It's similar to Odegaard when he scored against Newcastle. I
Yeah.
did kind of think, they're sure not giving this much space. I mean, he's been doing this literally all season,
Yeah.
It's like Lampard at Chelsea was similar, but they had so many other good players. It wasn't just like Mark Lampard,
Yeah.
But like if you had the ball, you turned around, you saw Lampard come and lay sitting around the box, like, oh, fuck. Like,
he's going to score that.
I wish I wasn't, so focused on Maluda here or like, Arjen Robben. I have to now like a Lampard coming running and lay it again, But like, that's it. That was the ball there that I think it was Gundogan who had the almost perfect game.
Unbelievable.
Crushed
him.
He had outside the boot into De Bruyne, and then De Bruyne like did that kind of like that Bergkamp like turnaround flick back
it was
to
ridiculous.
Haaland, and then it was like inches away, and it was like that's exactly where the Leeds players were standing to stop. Like he was on this spot where and I guess it went wide, but I mean another day that's rifled in the goal.
Exactly.
It could have been 6. I do remember Big Sam going to Big Sam, not Sam Allardyce, the rest of Big Sam. I remember Sam Allardyce's West Ham getting hammered like 8-0 over the 2 legs, we'll say, of the Premier League season when he was at West Ham. So like, I don't know why everyone thought this is going to be huge,
No.
Just because he said I am as good as Pep doesn't make that true, Like,
we said it last week. He was shy at West Brom the last time. Like no one, it's like that never happened.
like it's not that we're saying that he had his good players and he totally fucked this.
No.
But he didn't change anything. It was the same thing over and over. It was just like,
It just doesn't work.
One team's like beating another team into submission and like throwing the towel, like it's nothing changed, and it was just they got the goal in the end and it's like 2-1, and so he did look a bit rattled, a bit. I think it was because they missed the penalty.
Yeah.
If
the look is in, it feels like for the other team then.
Yeah, it's just like, it sounds kind of mean, but like it was unprofessional, which is like when you're going for the treble, you have to be, everything has to be perfect. Everyone knows that. You need a bit of luck, you need to do everything right. So Haaland, who's beaten every record, apparently Dixie Dean's all-time goals. I don't know if he knows who Dixie Dean is. I couldn't tell. If you give me a lineup of like men from the 20s and 30s, I don't know if I could point out Dixie Dean.
I know from playing Football Manager and always like having a player come close to that record but never being able to beat it. And like, damn you, Dixie.
Yeah, but that's the last record. That's the last world to conquer for Erling Haaland. But he didn't seem to care because Gundogan was on a hat trick, so he gave him the penalty. Now they didn't show Pep beforehand shouting and screaming.
Yeah, I'm sure he was totally cool with it.
But when he missed the penalty, I mean, he was like, I think it was you. I think it was you fucking take it. I think it was you. That's what he was shouting in at Haaland. Which I always find that when they take a penalty and it goes like kind of to the side but not in the corner, and it gets saved, and they go, "That's a bad penalty. Bad penalty." If it goes in, it's like
he set up the wrong way.
He froze him. He froze the keeper. But I think did Gundogan get taken off then after that?
I think he did. He either got taken off or the game was nearly done then anyway. But yeah, he was not happy.
I saw a screenshot of no context football. It was like him coming off, and like his stats were like 2 goals, or I don't know what it was. But yeah, he was very distraught. I remember seeing him being very distraught about missing the penalty and fucking up so badly. I think it's because that treble thing is like, there's no time for vanity here.
Yeah,
Gundogan. We need to do everything perfect.
And I think they know from the title races with Liverpool, where it came down to like a point, the last goal.
Yeah.
Like, there's no room for errors usually. This season, there probably is a little bit more leeway, but I'm sure that's still instilled in them, like every mistake and they're ahead.
Yeah. Again, because like it's just, it's, you have the almost perfect game. Like, he was so good. And I was like, this is the kind of bullshit that they pull, that you can just coast along all season on De Bruyne's coattails. I know. But he's been good all season, but this was like going to be his crowning moment. He had a season a couple of years ago where he couldn't stop scoring as well.
Yeah. He scored I don't know if you remember, he scored the goal last season that won them the league pretty much. On the last day, the one to take them ahead of Villa while Liverpool were ahead or whatever, however it worked.
Oh, yeah. You'd forget that actually went down the wire, wouldn't you?
It was like right down, like last 30 minutes.
Yeah. So like he's been an unbelievable player. And it was like, and he wasn't like he said, no, Erling, I'm taking this. Erling gave him the ball.
Yeah.
He's like, nah, man, you're on a hat trick. I've scored plenty of goals this year. Don't worry about that.
Don't worry.
Dixie who? Come on, He gave it to him and he missed and he got taken off. But I mean, they won 2-1. It should have been more, could have been more.
Yeah.
Now the next game they have is Real Madrid. So
it's tough to switch gears.
It's that age-old question, isn't it? It's like, do you rather go into a big game like that after hammering a team or get a bit of a scare and be like, okay, right, we're not as good as we think we are. We got to work hard for this. I mean, time will tell, I suppose.
Mm.
You can't look past Real Madrid in the Champions League usually, but
especially in Madrid, who like the league is done. You gotta it's this and that's it.
Yeah, but it's such a good C team. I can't.
It's such a battle.
Now, from an Arsenal point of view, because there's only 1 point in this with the game in hand, you're looking at the City game. Would you rather them lose to Real Madrid in the first leg and go, right, we have to really win the second leg? Or would you rather them win and go, right, I mean, look, the league's kind of wrapped up. And because they're not going to forget the league. They would still want to win the league, but you're trying to get them catch on the hop here. Psychologically, what's the best way to get them? Who plays them next, actually?
I'm not too sure.
Everton.
Hey, they just won 5-1 today.
Yeah. How are Everton going to beat them? With City after losing and we have to revenge, or do we have to, reevaluate everything we do?
Well, City are a team, when they do lose, the next game is normally a pummeling for whoever they play. They're one to do that. So I don't know. It's tough. It's tough to tell how crushing a Champions League defeat will be, if they fall out of the Champions League again.
Yeah.
But I think this league was so hard fought that it'll still feel like a huge accomplishment this year. Whereas other years where they've been miles ahead and then they get knocked out, it's like, what was it all for?
Yeah, well, I feel like if they were to get knocked out of Champions League this year, this league would be very hollow for them.
Did you think?
I think so, because there wasn't a really clear challenger. This Arsenal team was no one expected this.
Mm.
It's the youngest team in the league. It's not like the Liverpool team that we've been battling who are just as good as us.
Yeah,
sure, we spent a bit more money, but whatever. It's the team on the day. This is the closest people were Arsenal, then Newcastle, who still have players that would never get anywhere near your team. You're doing those shared 11,
Dan Burns not getting in.
No, as bad as Cancelo was, I think if I'd take him over Big Dan Burn. So and then of course it's say the last game there when they played Leeds, Grealish didn't play a minute.
Yeah.
Who else has that luxury of we needed to win every game, but I'm not going to play him. I'm not going to play the 100 million guy. I'll play Mahrez instead.
He's a legend.
Former Premier League player of the year,
yeah.
I'm pretty sure. So that's the thing with the league. It's all about the squad.
Mm.
Whereas a knockout competition is your 11 versus my 11.
It's your head.
You can still bring on Grealish, but he's not fresh. He's he mightn't have the same. It might be too little, too late. It's your 60 minutes versus our 60 minutes. 11v11. Who's better? Oh yeah, it turns out even with all the money, it's not you.
Yeah,
that would be crushing for them, I think. Whereas the league is we won another again against massive advantages versus So that's what I'm holding on to that City.
They either win or lose.
That Real Madrid break their spirits
somehow. Either way, whatever works.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm grasping straws here. But what else do we have then? We had 1-0.
Yes.
Now, a few weeks ago, you said Man United were playing and Liverpool were playing. One lost 1-0, the other won 1-0. I think I'd probably go the opposite of what happened, Will.
Yeah. It was tough. It was a tough one. The second tough to take loss in a row.
Hashtag tough to take.
Yeah, whereas like easily could have been a clean sheet if not for a horrendous mistake by a senior player.
Now come here, Will, right?
Yeah.
Now I don't know if you said this on air, but you definitely said this in the group chat that David De Gea was a club legend. I mean,
He is.
oh man.
Legacy wise, he is.
He's not 40, still in goal. He's like in his goalkeeping prime.
Most appearances as a goalkeeper for the club as of the last game. 2 player of the seasons, 3 player of the seasons, most clean sheets ever for the club.
Hang on now. Player of the season as a goalkeeper is never good. You know
No,
that.
yeah, that is true.
He wasn't you know if it was Bruno Hernandez one of those player of the seasons in those seasons, it'd be like, wow, that was the real captain's performance. He's getting the ball driven at you and somehow managed to keep the mouse despite letting it a lot
it's
in.
the most appearances and most clean sheets ever for the club is a big one. Now, do I think his time is up? Yes, 3 years ago. But he is a legend regardless.
I saw a return to Twitter of Senior Pogba, or Pogba Senior, I think it is.
I haven't heard of that guy in a while.
I know. That's what all the response like, oh my God, he's back.
He got replaced by the Martial guy.
Yeah. He may be the same guy.
Yeah, I
He
wouldn't
may
rule that out. Yeah.
Maybe Twitter got on about hate speech, and I better close this down before it gets, but yeah, he tweeted that De Gea's contract renewal will be his 9/11. That's his first tweet in like a year.
I tell you, it's looking like they're keeping De Gea on, and for a significant wage cut, which will bring him down to 200 grand a week, which will make him easily the highest paid goalkeeper in the world. It's insane. I mean, what other club pays beyond 60 grand a week for him at the moment? Like, he's a liability at the moment.
Well, this is the thing. I mean, this wasn't about his playing from the back that he can't do.
No.
Which we saw at the start of the season. This was literally just the thing he's good at, which is saving the ball. It was just a
and if you
fumble.
can't do that,
He fumbled the ball. He has that in him.
The worst thing is he has it in him, and it's always at this stage of the season. It's when it really matters, or when it's a knockout game. That's when it happens. It's like as soon as the pressure is on, he's in his own head. He's thinking like, oh, I better save this. And he's like, oh shit, I didn't know that I'd shot. Like, I mean, that one was one of his worst, and he's had some bad ones.
Just like every club legend, really cracks when the pressure's on. I mean, I don't know how he's getting. I'm like, of all clubs, if he was at Arsenal, I'd be like, all right, well, one league is pretty good considering the last 20 years. But like, at United, club legend, I mean, I don't see it.
No, but it's like, I think any player who gets to fucking testimonial level,
Phil Jones?
Well,
10
not
years?
Phil Jones. He's been in the hospital for like 40 years.
Hey, you're just a troll who lives in his mother's basement. Do you remember that quote? That
Yeah,
choice words?
drinking Pepsi Max or whatever, eating pot noodles in their underwear.
That's us, baby. But now we have microphones, Phil.
Well, yeah, it's tough to take. Every De Gea error is like, oh, and that was the first time I've seen it where you could see it on the players' faces. Normally it's like, drats, and they'll have a terrible game. The rest of the game is fucked, like the Brentford one to start the season. But this is the one where like the camera zoomed in on a few players' reactions, and they all, like, Rashford looked directly at Ten Hag like Jim Halpert.
Yeah.
It's tough.
No, it's you know, like I said, the worst thing you can call a man is mentally weak.
Yes.
Because, again, you can't prove that I'm not. Because, one, I don't have to be in that situation, so I can just say it. And two, you can't look at me and know that I'm mentally weak.
Yeah.
No, I am, you know. So it's the worst thing you can say to me, because there's no comeback, because you've bottled it or whatever, bottle job, whatever thing you want to call this. You know, like, there's no getting out of it. There's no like, oh, well, like, I'd like to see you do it. It's like, yeah, I would easily. And you can just say that. And you can't look at you and say, no, everyone agrees you wouldn't. Because, like, I don't know your life. I know what you do for a living. It's the worst thing you can do to someone. The worst insult you can give. So, I mean, For this United team, if they're to lose top four, I mean, whatever about like the season or the points or the expectation, same as Arsenal, it's the way they lost it. It's like, oh, that was. I'd rather we didn't do that. I'd rather we.
It's the memory that stays with you. It's not the win against Barcelona in the Europa League and the League Cup win and all that. They're gone. It's what about the last 5 games of the season where you threw it into your own net, where we scored 2 goals in 6 games, I think, something like that.
Yeah, it's the recency bias.
Yeah,
when things are bad, really comes into play.
Yeah, and like it's unfortunate because it is a lot of it is you lost Martinez and Varane in the space of 2 minutes in a disastrous Europa League game. The whole system is dependent on them not giving the ball away. So when they're not there, you have to lump it up the pitch. When you're lumping it up the pitch, no one up there is able to head the ball. So it's fucked. Your season's instantly fucked.
Like, again, not to be, well, I guess I am, but like just back on David De Gea. But like,
no, he deserves it.
That whole thing of giving it to Martinez, that is like the Premier League equivalent of a Sunday league keeper who can't kick the ball out.
Yeah.
It's like, I can't play it out. I have to give it to the centre back to play it out. Like, he has to do it every time.
There is not a clear sign of how important Martinez and Varane are, is that David De Gea is on course to win the Golden Glove of the Premier League this year. He's 2 clean sheets ahead.
I know, yeah. This is the thing, and like the most clean sheets. This is one of the years that have added to his the most clean sheets. Does that make him a great club?
This is the first year when it was different.
No, it's
100%. It is. Oh, it is. This is the most. This is his most errors leading the goal in the season. I saw 4, which is a lot. I mean,
equaled only by Hugo Lloris. I heard as well.
Another, I would say, club legend who also should have left 3 years ago.
For Spurs.
Yeah, that's
for Spurs. That's what I'm saying. At another club, it's fine. At Arsenal, even I'd say, the one league will probably get you there in all the cups. It's the one league at United. It's like,
but this is it. It's a long time since it's not the United of old anymore. The standards have dipped.
But the legend, if you're going to put him in the legends category.
Yeah, but again, it's recency bias. He's the only one who's been good for a few. It's just like him and Luke Shaw.
You're saying best players ever. You're saying Luke Shaw's one of the best players ever. It's like, well, no, he's not. It's like, well, recently he is. Like, but it's best ever. If you're saying legend, that says best ever. You're up there with Roy Keane and Paul Scholes and David De Gea. No way.
No chance. He's in the bottom tier. He's not getting a fucking statue.
Right, www.patreon.com/nuancespod. We're going to do a tier list of United legends.
Voiced by Donald Trump.
Donald Trump, Joe Biden, and George Bush are going to do a tier list of United legends. It's going to get fiery, folks. I don't know. I just I see him all the time, and like again, it's like Alisson obviously had that mistake recently in the Champions League for Liverpool. No, they lost the game 5-3, and there's other things, but like
he has one in him much, much more rarely.
Well, that's what I mean. Like a lot, goalies is the hardest place to be because like you're the last one. There's no one behind you, so the pressure is on you all the time. But
your mistake is a goal, whereas other players' mistakes you can cover up for them.
And David De Gea has the most as on him playing for Man United, but it's just I think it's the money as well as part of it. It's just the whole thing, the donut. Who could forget? I just it's bad for them. Liverpool. I mean, we called the run.
Yeah,
we're in the run.
We have never been wrong about Liverpool once in like 3 years of podcasting.
We have planned out their moves exactly. They seem to be back on it now. Trent in midfield is working based on the fixtures they've had. We'll say, we don't know how it will work over the course of the season, and they didn't do it in the Champions League because they got knocked out of that,
which is probably a plus for them this season. I think having a nice rest midweek really helps a lot of teams this year. I think Arsenal and United suffered big time with that. I saw this is United's first midweek break since October.
Yeah.
So like, of course the players are going to get tired and injured and start making mistakes. This is like their 70th game, including the World Cup.
Yeah, and most of them were in World Cup squads, if not playing in them. Yeah. It's been a long season. I think a lot of teams, like we saw the results there today. I know we're coming to the end, but there's still like a month left of games. Like it's a bit early for 5-1s. usually reserved. The most end of season game I can ever remember is Alex Ferguson's last game, West Brom versus Man United. It was,
The Lukaku.
was it 5-5 or something?
I think it was 5-4. I think United lost.
It was like what the fuck? Lukaku scored a hat trick. It was just like, this is no one's defending at all here. This is everybody is so done with this league. But like, yeah, that was still a few games. But that's the World Cup effect, I think. That 3 extra games. Like, no, we're done. Actually, we played those 3 games in Qatar. Actually, in the heat. So you can savor everything. I hope they do well this next season. But we're done. Liverpool. I guess for them the same thing. It started off kind of as a letdown in comparison to last year. But if they make this run, if they were to make Champions League ahead of United, that would be a great season for them. Yeah,
it's very similar to 2 years ago. They had the terrible season, and then they got top 4 because Alisson scored a goal, and then they went and they nearly won the quadruple.
That was a big time relegated because Alisson scored a header,
and this guy was going to save Leeds. He can't even stop their goalie.
Yeah, and then the next year there were 2 games away from the quadruple. So yeah, next year it could be one season on, one season off. Might not be a bad system.
No, that makes sense.
Kind of like Chelsea's system of like dominating like for like 3 or 4 years, then one horrendous season and they come back. And they win the Champions League. But
I think if Liverpool do get top 4 though, it's a real sign of how poor the big teams have been this season. Yeah. Like United couldn't wrap up 4th when they were like 10 points ahead at one stage. Chelsea are nowhere to be seen. Spurs, Liverpool just bloops them. Like it's. Yeah. I think in any other regular season, the comeback would be way too late. 4th would be gone, 5th would be gone even. But it's just everyone is so weak this year, it feels like.
Yeah, well, I think that's it. Like everyone's a bottler. Everyone's mentally weak. Everyone's.
They can't all be. They're just.
Well, we're judging it based on City, who seem fine.
Yeah, exactly. Who have 2 teams.
Who have Jack Grealish on the bench. Don't bring him on. In a game they were close to drawing. I was like, but they didn't. Just the takeaway is they didn't. They won and they could have won by more. Didn't play when they're like, and Jack Grealish has been great.
Yeah.
Like, couple seasons ago, you wouldn't play him because he wasn't playing well. It doesn't matter how much he costs. Like, had a great season this year.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, give him a rest. He's got Real Madrid during the week. It's like, no one else can do that.
No
one else
can't
can do that. So like, Man United bottled this. Like, the glee that other teams have shown to Arsenal bottling this or losing this. Like, there's no United front against City. It's like, oh God, if they beat them, then we'll never the end of it.
Yeah.
But when that's right, come back down here with us. Back to the gutter with us other losers. And it was the same when United like looked for a brief time that they might make it a 3-horse race. And then the tombstones come out.
Ten Hag never said it, boys.
It's just there's such a vitriol between the other teams. We're like, you should aim this at City, who this year have been accused of like massive financial doping, but everyone's like, you didn't do it. You didn't, unlucky David. Goliath wins again. But that's it, only 2 weeks ago I was saying if fucking United win 2 cups, I will never hear the end of it.
I won't think you need to worry.
Well, cup final, you never know.
Well, I was looking at that cup final. That cup final is 3 days after the last day of the season, or maybe 4 days. But United play Fulham on the last day. Could easily see that being the top 4 decider, and I could easily see them fucking it up. Tell you, they're not winning an FA Cup final after that. There's no chance.
We will see. But yeah, this does feel like City's final form, and if they don't win the treble this year, they'll never win it. I think. Honest to God, like this is the competition has been so like versus the Liverpool sides they've beaten. This is not their side are good. They have been very good, and again they showed against Newcastle that they have all the tools to be champions in any other season. They probably will be, but whatever.
I think as well, City play to what their rivals are playing to. I think if Liverpool are there getting 100 points, I think City are getting 100 points this season as well. Just you have to step it up when everyone else is stepping it up. And I know they started slow, but I mean, if your striker's scoring 52 goals or whatever the fuck, like you're not gonna. It doesn't matter.
No, I think that's true experience, that you're not panicking in October.
Yeah.
In November, think, oh fuck, Arsenal are 10 points clear. Like,
Yeah.
don't worry, lads. We
Yeah.
you know, we know what we do. We know how to win games. Like,
Yeah. Once we start, we do not stop.
yeah, and it's also it's that classic thing of worrying about what you can control. You know, it's like, listen, Arsenal are going to do whatever they want to do. You know, all we can do is focus on this games. There's a lot of games to play. There's a lot of points on the table, and like even mathematically, they can say, what's the average amount of points we got in the last 5 years when we won the league 4 times? Yeah, we're still very capable of getting the higher end of those points. So, whereas Arsenal, like, you know, yeah, they can look at what City or Liverpool got, but what's the last average points that we got? You know, like, so you don't have that same familiarity of being at that top. I think that it's not like magic, you know. I think it is. It's much more like mathematical than that. Being like, we know how many games left. We know what we have to do. We know, like, in terms of your own personal fitness and your own body, like where you need to be by April, by May, and
well, I mean, even for United, as soon as it came out, like they have to win this many games in this many games, and that guarantees top 4. It feels like they've crumbled ever since that started. So I do think that must come into play, where it's like every game, like, oh, this is so much harder now.
yeah. No, when you're playing, we're just taking every game as it comes. It's like, well, that's a great way to do it. But like when you can see the finish line, you can see that this is how much it needs. Like, oh,
I'm tired.
Does anyone else feel like their legs are literally made of lead, or is that just me?
De Gea! Wake up!
Stop backpedaling. I don't know. I think it's all been about 10 shags this year.
Yeah.
You know, it hasn't quite turned, but it's gone very silent on how good Ten Hag is. You know,
I think he's had a great season, to be fair.
No, I'm saying the kind of the general feels like Ten Hag is unbelievable.
The clamour.
He's done so much. He's changed his around. Now it's like, it's obviously okay. There's injuries, but no one's saying like, but not Ten Hag's fault. People are like, well, let's just see how the season ends, and then we'll make our final decision on if 10 is 10 shags or 10-0 or whatever. You know,
unfortunate that he peaked early. The season peaked early for them and then fizzled. Whereas if you peak late, there's so much promise going into the next season. Even if you finish like 6th, like, no, but we're playing good football. Whereas when you start well and you start dipping off and like your strikers can't score, things like that, it's like, oh God, I wish we had a solution to this. I don't see one.
Yeah, well, all the cards are played now. You know, like Sancho has had all season to come into form.
I tell you, he's the collective groan when he was subbed on to find a winner in the West Ham game.
Yeah,
he's done. That man is finished at Old Trafford, I think. Well, not even at Old Trafford for United's fans, I think.
But that's the kind of thing. It's like there's always something. It's like, oh well, January's coming, might buy someone. You know, just give him a bit of time. Like the time has all come. The transfer window's come and gone. It's like, this is it now. This is the team that needs to win 3 of the next 4 games.
Yeah.
Can they do it? And I think the overwhelming feeling is maybe.
But the fixtures are kind. It's like Bournemouth, Fulham, Wolves. I think Fulham and Wolves don't have anything to play for. Fulham might still have Conference League, but Wolves don't have anything to play for. Bournemouth do have a lot to play for, but you would think United should be able to get by them, even with how they're playing.
Are Bournemouth near relegation still, or are they still?
I think they went on a crazy run. I think they're like pretty safe now. Not like mathematically, but it's looking good.
Well, it's just the way they form the other teams. You know, you can tell. Like sometimes it can be like the manager's like, right, lads, you know, we're still fighting for this. But like you can tell he doesn't believe it, and you're like, yeah, we can all see the table on our phones. We think you know, like you're not really.
I saw the graph.
Yeah, there's a graph going around. That's all I'll say. Bournemouth are on 39 points, and Leeds are on 30 points.
Yes, so
Leeds have 3 games left. So you're saying Leeds are going to win all 3 games?
Yeah, and Bournemouth are going to lose all 3,
and get a 5 goal difference, 5+ goal difference in those 3 games. And Bournemouth will lose all 3. They play Crystal Palace next, who literally have nothing to play for. They have their 40 points.
I think if Bournemouth win that, United are in with a great chance of beating Bournemouth.
Yeah, that's part of it too. It's who you're playing.
I did see though what could be a very interesting story. I think I could be wrong now, but do you know what Mitrovic's first game back is? After his
he's still behind. All the stuff that's happened since that has just made his stuff. Do you know what
I could be wrong,
actually?
but I think he's back in the last day of the season against Man United.
I tell you what, man, right? I like to, a little hobby of mine is I like to force my girlfriend to watch old movies that I know she's not going to like. And a few weeks ago, I made her watch All the President's Men.
Yeah, good movie.
Classic. Dustin Hoffman and Robert Redford. You know, this isn't the movie of the week. That's for Patreon members only.
Yeah.
Don't worry, ultras. You know, Patreon/No Podcast. But made her watch that, and it's about the Nixon, the Watergate. You know, the feels like in modern pop culture the original scandal.
Yeah,
and it's about how he was listening to the Democratic Party and hear what their plan would be. You know, and huge scandal. Everything's just gate at the end of it because of this. And when it ended, she's like, "Was that it? Like, was that the scandal that he was listening to them?" I was like, "Yeah, that's really bad. It's like it's illegal." It's like, "Yeah, but like, well, stuff's happened since. I mean, it's pretty
very
softcore
tame,
stuff."
yeah.
You know?
I would have thought that was par for the course. Yeah,
Yeah, don't they all do that? Well, they do it now, but I mean, this is why
this is before we had phones. This is before we had TikTok.
Exactly. You have to imagine this is before like people had microphones in their pockets. You know.
Yeah.
But that's what Mitrovic is like touch now and intimidating versus like what Klopp did versus all the stuff that's happened in the weeks. It's like, how are they not bans? How is none of this banned?
Why is Klopp actually? Yeah, Klopp was freaking on the touchline, wasn't he?
I'm very sure that the Brighton Tottenham brawl was also in between that. That man's been sacked and Mitrovic is still on the bench. I mean, it's crazy. Like how like okay, this is we have to be heavy on this, so it shows everybody we're serious about this. And then everyone just said, "Well, I'm going to do it too." And then
they're not as scary as Mitrovic, though.
Well, when you intimidate somebody, it's not it's not intimidating. It's a Serbian man.
Klopp wasn't actually going to hit me.
But, I mean, Mitrovic, you know what that guy's going to do? I don't know. It's I can't believe he still hasn't played yet. Yeah, well, if he comes back, he's got a point to prove. That'll be his his Cantona moment.
Yeah. He might be. He might jump into the crowd. The other Cantona moment.
He climbs the he climbs the stand to the bar room.
You can hear him in the fucking background of Martin Tyler's headset.
It's like, no, they're in Stockley Park. It's like, I know they're here somewhere. I know they're here. I can smell their cowardice. That'd be great. Yeah. No, it's Fulham are I think they're judged by the graph that's going around. I think they still have Europa League is the best they can do.
I think so, something like that. Yeah,
they're in good form. They're in good form,
and like it sounds condescending, but I think they're going to be happy with anything like Conference League, Europa League. It's all Europe. You were fucking in the Championship last year, so yeah. I think they'll be happy enough.
Yeah, I'd like to say it depends on how they can motivate the players as well. It's like the kind of let's finish this on a high, or is like it's all gravy after this. Like because like say the expectation was so low, and it's we've done so well, and we might actually get Europe. It's like that can give you that kind of second wind. Whereas Wolves, who are like,
what the fuck do they care?
The goal for Wolves probably was to stay in the league and sell the least amount of their players in January as they could. Yeah. They've achieved all their goals. Yeah.
Season done. On to the next one.
It's very hard to turn around those players and say, now let's keep it going. It's like, keep walk going, like survival.
Shut up.
There's no high, there's no like thing to keep going. It's like, we did it. Like barely, but we did it,
Yeah. It doesn't look like Liverpool will lose the next 3 games, though. I think their fixtures are pretty favourable as well. I know Southampton is one of them. And
that would be mean if they after all they did Southampton, all the players they pillaged from them, that now
sent them down.
You finally come to finish the job. Their greatest enemy,
Yeah.
You said you were helping us with the money, but you weren't helping us.
Shut
You're
up,
taking our best players.
7-0, 8-0.
Shoving their head in the dirt, like literally physically shoving them down the relegation trap, like after all these years. Why did you take Lallana? You didn't even need Lallana. You didn't even use him. There was anything else then we wanted to quickly cover? I know it's going to be all out there now. This is No Nonsense After Dark, folks. Not to be confused with After Nonsense.
Yes, which is our Patreon exclusive show where we talk everything but football. Although, no, I don't think we do talk football in it ever, really. Now that I think of it.
Sometimes, if it's like relevant to,
if it's
a
like
an example. you know. But it's not like a no football rule either. It's not like, you know.
It's not hard and fast rules. I'm like, Cahill, stop.
Cut that out. I swear to fucking God, cut that out.
And
No.
if you'd like to hear a little clip of After the Nonsense, here you go.
It's a run in. I mean, squeaky bum time. I don't know if the clock is still even on that. I mean, it's a mess in there. I don't even go in there. I can smell it from here. And
We're at shitty bum time.
We're at like passed out, drunk in the toilets. You know, still, you know, getting rid of
Underpants in the
evidence.
bin time.
Yeah, it's walk out of there like nothing happened time. That's what we're getting to, right? So we'll be there to cover it all. We got another episode this week, another episode of Nonsense this week. Oh, what am I saying?
You know.
You know, the stuff, the fucking shows that you're fucking paying for. It's coming. Relax. Jesus.
These people again.
The pressure I'm under. You wouldn't believe the pressure I'm under. Yeah, wow. That was intense.
Yeah, the pressure's on. It's a lot of work.
Hey, you know, that was the pressure talking.
Yeah. We're much calmer this week.
Which I guess is just me under pressure, so me talking. Well, before we go, Will, some breaking news in the past.
Ooh.
Southampton have got another goal. So have Nottingham Forest. So it's 4-2. Yeah.
They are pathetic.
Nottingham Forest, some players like you've never heard of as well. Gibbs White, he's in pretty good. Danilo
Yeah.
from sounds Brazilian, who knows? And Awayani has 2 goals.
There you go.
So, you know, not even the household names are scoring in Southampton. Just anybody's. But
Just anyone.
yeah, I think we'll be back, like I said, for the Patreon right after this. But also, Champions League is back.
Big
So
one.
that means we have a second bonus episode as well coming for the Champions League. We have the 2 semi-finals, first legs this week.
Yes. And I would say 2 of probably the biggest semi-finals of all time.
Oh, yeah.
2 humdingers.
I think, you know what, like Milan Derby is just, I mean, are they on the same time? Hopefully not. Hopefully it's Tuesday.
No,
Wednesday,
it's
is it?
Tuesday, Wednesday. Tuesday, Wednesday.
Oh, thank God.
I'm sure there's Premier League on at the same time.
Probably.
Man City are playing 2 games simultaneously.
Yeah. But I tell you what, if Man City lose this game against Real Madrid, I'm going to call it now. If they get knocked out in the semi-final, Will,
Yeah.
Pep walks.
Wow. You think?
Pep walks. End of the season, he says, you know what? I
Fuck
can't
this.
do it.
No
can't-
way.
If he can't do this, because think about it, he's like, all I had to do was get it over 100-year-old Real Madrid team and then beat a Milan team with either Giroud or Edin Dzeko, who used to play for us 100 years ago. This was the chance, you know. You might say chance is a chance. This is the chance. If he doesn't win this year, he walks, says, you know what, lads, thanks for everything, but I'm done. I can't do this again. I can't try and do it again. It will never happen this good for me.
Ooh, I'm going to say, I think first of the year, absolutely not.
Oh, well, this is one that we might never know because they probably will win the whole thing. But
Yeah.
I'm saying that, put that on the board. He's gone. He's walking after this.
That'd be mental.
Tell you.
The whole team he built with Haaland. Fuck off. I'm not doing that anymore.
No, honestly, that is nonsense. Nonsense. All nonsense.
They say many, many garbage things.
You don't know what you're going to get.
Melodrama upon melodrama. This is a total, utter, shameful, disgraceful piece of nonsense.
He was miles off it yesterday.
You'll learn a lot more if you listen rather than talk all the
Plenty
time.
of time, no problem.